Hey, all you podcast listeners, you can find Slice of the Paranormal everywhere podcasts are found, or you can watch us on our YouTube channel.
Hi, hello there, and welcome to the podcast. I am Ryan. This is Christy.
Hello.
This is my friend Steve, and this is Slice of the Paranormal podcast where we talk about paranormal stuff. All kinds of crazy stuff. What do we talk about on here?
Like jelly bean monsters.
Ghosts? Jelly bean monsters?
I don't know.
It could be. Cryptids. Monoliths.
Oh, I love some good monoliths.
All kinds of stuff, right, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, tonight's episode's about a cryptid. So
Is it about a cryptid?
It is about a
Oh,
cryptid.
dead
Sasquatch.
on.
Kinda. I mean, it depends on
Skinwalker.
whose version you're thinking of.
Don't get me excited. Is it Skinwalker?
It's going to be Wendigo. The
Okay,
Wendigo.
okay.
Is,
So we did talk about this.
We did talk about this.
We've
I know a
mentioned
bit
it in
about
passing.
Wendigo.
But the Wendigo is like a Algonquian folklore. And that's really cool because we had the Delaware tribe that lived right across the river from where we're at.
Okay, yeah.
And where are we again, just for our
Right now we're in
listeners?
Northumberland, Pennsylvania is where the recording studio is. But we were talking about the Wendigo in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which is in Lycoming County, Pennsylvania.
All along the Susquehanna River.
Along the Susquehanna River, but it's along the West Branch. So if you follow the river up, it's going to curve right at Williamsport, and it's going to shoot off to the west, all the way out to Ohio. So that's kind of geographically where we're at, is along the west branch of the Susquehanna. Right now we're at the point where the
They all
west and the north come
converge.
together
Right.
and form the mighty Susquehanna that goes down to the Chesapeake.
Which is kind of why Sunbury, Northumberland were like a hub for everything back in the day because of the branches converging.
Exactly.
Right there.
Like if you look at Indian trails, like there's like 12 trails that radiate out of Sunbury. So it's not hard to believe that there's a lot of Native American stuff going on here.
So I remember this place. We were in Williamsport. I remember it was a long day, but...
And it also kind of goes back to like our whole Otsonoxen episode. Like,
yeah, because Otsonoxen's along the West Branch as well.
Right.
You know,
so
same geographic area.
So just so our listeners, Steve gives us a little bit of the story. If you've never listened to us before, Steve gives us a little bit of the story while we're in the area, and we do some investigating. And then we come back here to the studio. Steve gives us the full story, and we have some of the story, so we do our own research as well in the meantime. And while we're in the area, we always check out a local pizza place, so we'll review that here later too.
So with the Wendigo, I mentioned the Wendigo up in Williamsport, and I have a picture of something I found online. I don't know who the artist is. Maybe it'll say. But it gives you an idea of what the creature looks like.
Or what they think it looks like.
Or what they think it looks like. For those of you that don't know, a Wendigo is a human that has gotten the urge to eat human flesh, and they've fallen into it and eaten human flesh.
They call it long pig? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, long pig. So if you've eaten long pig and you're Native American, technically Algonquin, the other tribes people would think that you might be a Wendigo.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. And you drew a picture.
Well, I
researching. Right?
I wanted to point out that the picture for our home viewers that was just shown, that was actually a picture of what would be considered a more modern interpretation of a Wendigo. Wendigo. I always want to put the N like a dingo. It's not a dingo. It's a digo.
But the Wendigo ate my baby.
Exactly.
The Wendigo ate my baby.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania, you can't blame dingoes, but you can blame Wendigos.
Wendigos.
Wendigos. So yeah, that's actually like with the like deer skull and everything, or like stag horns.
Yeah, that's
it's actually a much more modern interpretation, which... So last night I was just doing my own research for the episode. I was watching YouTube, listening to stories, and just doing my own little sketches. And so, yeah, this one with a skull is definitely more modern. The older one is actually more like human based, like almost like a skull. And I just kind of like did some sketches while I was listening And these are the kind of, so like that would be the more modern version. And that's kind of, now I will say, I haven't practiced my art in a long time, and my light source was very bad. And I was drawing these at about doodling. 2 a.m. Right. So I was just really kind of just doodling. Cool. But when I looked at it this morning, I was like,
But I love that you found the distinction, because the modern Wendigo, it looks like a cross between a werewolf and a deer. Yeah. You know, and it's very large.
Like a werewolf wearing a deer skull.
Exactly.
Werewolf in a deer skeleton.
Now, to the 1700s, Native Americans, a Wendigo was someone that was human in form, could still speak their language, and they would grow exponentially in size based on how much they ate.
Oh, wow.
And the reason that they
How much human they
ate. So the reason that they grew was because they were in a constant state of emaciation. So their skin, they look like flesh over bone.
Right.
So that's why they would have looked more human, with sunken and hollowed eyes. They would be void of emotion. In fact, one of the ways to kill a Wendigo was the fact that they had a heart of ice.
Oh, yeah.
And you would carve out the heart of ice to kill a Wendigo.
Carve out? Could you burn it out, possibly?
You could.
That's what Sam and Dean Winchester say.
Heat is another thing.
Burn it.
But if you liked the Wendigo and you wanted to save them, say it was your grandmother or your mother that became a Wendigo.
Okay.
One of the ways that they would try to bring them back is they'd feed them a diet of heavy animal fats to try to satiate that hunger that was not human meat. And that would hopefully bring them back and make them stop wanting to eat eating people.
Huh.
So, you know, the images are more of an ashen gray, large human. And there's legends of like Native American boys going missing from the camp and being taken by a Wendigo.
And this is more of a Native American.
It is Native American.
Right?
In fact,
it's like bigger than that, though, right?
It's become bigger than that.
It's
because
American folklore at this
people
point.
like if you watch the show The Grimm, they had episodes on the Wendigo.
Supernatural. Come on.
Has done episodes on
episode number 2.
Yeah, episode number 2 of the whole
whole series.
Now we know because we watched it for research.
Yeah, I know. I didn't watch Supernatural except for a few times, and
you gotta
it does
watch
seem
it from
great.
the beginning.
I have a problem with commitment. So
it is a commitment. It's a long time, and you will cry during some of the episodes, right?
For sure.
And being
single man tier,
nerd,
come on.
I'm stuck on documentaries, and I read newspaper articles.
Right.
So for me, fiction is something I don't delve into too
Fair
much.
Enough. But maybe you've never seen Dean and like looking good, because he's a good looking guy.
Right.
Well, I did see the car this weekend, and the car's looking pretty good. I wanted to get in the black car.
Wait, you saw Baby?
Yeah, it was just down in Gettysburg for the Warren Paracon, which is a Paracon for the Supernatural or something, I think it was called. And they had a whole bunch of the guys from the Supernatural show and the car. So I got a picture of the car, and everyone's like, "Oh, did you talk to so-and-so?" I was like, "No, the car is amazing, but it's black."
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a 67 Impala?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm an artist.
It's an Impala. I know for sure it's an Impala.
So,
I might be wrong on the year, but it's an Impala.
So, the Wendigo has hit popular culture. So, that's where you get this modern, more
new
evil
versions of it.
I'm sorry to go back to Supernatural, but I would like to say, too, Ryan and I kind of discovered our share of the love of paranormal because of Supernatural.
Oh, wow.
We had always individually and not really discussed it before.
Yep.
No, done our own thing with paranormal. And then Ryan's like, "You ever watch Supernatural?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "We should watch it." So we started watching it, and then within a few episodes, we developed a drinking game, which,
as anyone would do, we developed a drinking game,
which was fantastic.
Okay, I have to ask, what's the drinking game about?
Now you want to watch it, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, I might want to do the drinking game, but
you know what? We should probably
do
and put it out on our social media, like our list of like top 10 supernatural drinking game rules.
I will. Can we put one freebie out there that you can play on any show?
Yep.
If you want to use, you know what I'm going to say,
Sure.
don't you? Any drinking game
With
for any
TV
show,
yep.
with TV show, maybe action, maybe not a comp. Well, actually,
I think anything.
even comedy, stands with a knife.
The rule is stands with a knife.
Anytime you see someone standing with a knife in their hand, you drink. You would be surprised.
Yeah, it's a lot of drinking.
How often this turns out.
I don't know why that's a trope, but it is.
It really is, because it could be a peanut butter knife. It could be a pocket knife.
You know what? Like with a rule like
machete.
that, I mean, it might be even dangerous to watch a cooking show.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah.
You know?
It works for every show.
We never did try it with a cooking
MasterChef
show.
would be screwed.
Yeah, that might not work.
As long as they're what if they crouch? You don't have to count that.
We might have to use other rules for
I'm going to put you guys
shows.
on a mission sometime. You should try a drinking game, but do it with a cooking show.
I'm down.
Turn on the Food Network, see what happens.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. We could come up. How many rules you want, Steve? We got this shit.
Just try it once. See if you guys make it.
You want like 10 rules?
Yeah. You guys can make up your own rules. I trust.
Well, yeah,
your
we will.
creativity.
All right. Well, let's do.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. Yeah, we digress.
So back to the Wendigo. They do think it's a cultural thing, like that. You know how like if you can't get the stigmata unless you're Catholic.
Sure.
You know, or have a demonic possession unless you're Christian.
Sure.
So the belief is that you have to be Native American to become a Wendigo.
Okay.
Back in the day. Now that might have changed in Supernatural and all
Sure.
that. So there are some evidence of this happening. In 1878, a guy named Swift Runner, which I sent you a picture of the guy.
Let me pull him up.
And on the image, he's on the right-hand side, or, well, for the viewer, it'd be the left-hand side. And Swift Runner ate his one child while he was only 25 miles away from another source of food. And then after he ate the first child died of natural causes.
Okay. So the child died of natural causes, and he's just a little bit lazy and hungry, and it's like...
He's lazy and hungry, and he decides, you know what, that wasn't so bad.
He looked pretty tasty.
It's 25 miles to get more food, so even though it's winter, I'm just going to eat my wife and my other 5 kids.
Well, and 25 miles to us doesn't sound like a lot, but in the winter with
he's
whatever...
walking or...
Yeah, that's a little different situation.
So what is this picture we're looking at here?
This is, what's his name?
Swift Runner.
We're looking at Swift Runner, and who's the other fella?
I think it's the guy that arrested him,
Yeah, it looks
and
like
that's
some
around 1878.
official.
And they're standing in front of like an old log cabin.
They're
looking.
actually at the camp that he ate his family at.
Okay, so
the next
it does
picture,
look like a home, though.
The next
It
picture?
is like a
the
structure.
next picture actually is of his family,
Oh, there you go.
and then what was left. So
That's inside the hut.
So for those
Well,
not looking
I
at our YouTube right
I
now,
think
it's a bunch of skulls.
it's a bunch of skulls on a
Skulls and
table.
bones.
Just some bones on a table. And
So he eats these
It
people.
does look like there's a tablecloth on there, which is lovely.
He did fancy it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And for his crime, they figured since he was only 25 miles away from food, they viewed it as a crime in Canada. And he actually is executed by the authorities at Fort Saskatchewan for eating the family.
Sasquatchewan.
Yeah, something like that.
No, you were right. You were
Saskatchewan.
right. I'm just teasing you.
And then there's another case. There's a guy named Jack Fiddler. Now, Jack Fiddler was not a Wendigo, but he was kind of like, I guess, your guys' show, Supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
He was a Wendigo killer.
Oh, like a
So
hunter.
he was a hunter.
Winchester.
So he's like the Grimm or any of these
Okay.
other shows, you know. And he
Obviously, you've
he
never
was
seen Grimm, so...
He's a medicine man or a self-built medicine man. And he killed people he said had Wendigo psychosis.
Oh, yeah.
So, and this happens in 1907.
Is that Wendigo fever? The same thing? I actually
yeah, like Wendigo
wrote that
fever.
note.
People can have Wendigo fever.
Yeah.
So
Running naked in the woods.
Jack Fiddler and his brother Joseph Fiddler were also arrested by Canadian authorities. Jack actually commits suicide. He never gets, held accountable.
Okay.
But his brother Joseph got life in prison for killing people that were suffering from Wendigo psychosis.
Yo.
So there's a couple.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
You're good. I'm thinking to myself, so are people diagnosing this, or is this the guy diagnosing this?
This is the guy that killed two people.
Like,
said,
"You got this.
You got the Wendigo.
I gotta kill you.
Psychosis. I'm taking you out."
I like this.
You know, like, so
pretty smart guy.
it is kind of
Wendigo
odd.
possession was also a thing apparently back then.
Yeah, because if you were hungry and it was winter, and you started hearing voices that were telling you should eat your family or friends, that is Wendigo psychosis.
Yes.
Oh.
You have not fallen down the pit and started eating people.
That's what that was.
But they believe that it's the Wendigo spirit that's telling you these things and making you
pulling you.
It's pulling you towards it.
Well, what I thought was also interesting, like, yes, the Native American thing, but also the whole, like, people, like miners being secluded from other people and, like, only having a limited amount of people they would die off. You'd have to eat them to live.
Yeah, I mean,
so, like,
we have locally the Shepton mine disaster where 3 guys get trapped, miners get trapped in a mine.
Right.
And only 2 of them come out. Now, the 3rd miner was actually trapped and probably covered with stone and died in the collapse. But the other 2 miners that did exist and survive, the belief was, and the rumor was, that they had ate the 3rd person.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, in the scenario where you don't have any food and you have to make those tough decisions, I mean, miners, sailors, I mean, there's so many different people that are thrust in that situation where you sometimes, a normal, rational person will eat another human being when faced with starvation. I mean, so.
Hey, I'm sorry to go off topic, but I really want to know, did either one of you guys watch the show, The Terror?
I have not.
It's on the History Channel. It's right now on Netflix.
No.
Oh, it's so good. It's about, like, finding the Northwest Passage in the Antarctic, and it's all frozen. And they get stuck there for, like, 3 years on these boats. And these boats actually existed. So it's like a fictional, historical account.
Sure.
You know, of what could have happened. But there's some cannibalism that happens, and, like, it takes some really dark turns. Highly recommend it to any of our viewers, listeners out there, The Terror. It's really good, but I will also warn, it gets really, really dark at the end. Really dark.
There you go.
But very good.
Like the Wendigo idea or concept isn't ascribed to white people. Like,
well, and that's the thing. They were like Inuits up there.
Well, Edgar Allan Poe wrote a story about sailors that were on a raft, and because they had to escape the ship, and when one boy had to be killed to sustain the other sailors. And the weird thing about the story was, years later, a boy with the same name as the character that Edgar Allan Poe had written about, a ship did sink, and the survivors got on a lifeboat, and they ended up killing the kid with the same exact name from the Edgar Allan Poe story.
That's a weird coincidence.
But I've never heard them refer to him as a Wendigo, the people that ate him, because it was
white people.
Survival thing, and it was white people. So they were absolved, and same with the movie Alive. You have the rugby players or soccer team,
one of the two.
That their plane goes down in the Andes, and they're forced to eat the dead from the airplane wreck. And if I remember correctly, I think they were Catholic. So you never hear that they all had Wendigo psychosis.
Yeah, interesting.
Now, I saw that movie at the drive-in theater when I was a kid. Yeah. It was a weird movie to see at the drive-in. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, like, it was strange to see that when I was, like, 15. I don't know, maybe even a little younger. Well, I don't know when that was. It was very weird.
Now, in PA, and the reason the whole, Wendigo story came up is along the West Branch of the Susquehanna, I was reading a very interesting journal by Reverend John Heckwelder, who's a Moravian missionary. And he publishes his journal, and it's called History, Manners, and Customs of Indian Nations Who Once Inhabited Pennsylvania and the Neighboring States. Really rolls off the tongue. It's a title back when titles were super long. So,
concise. Yeah.
he related a story he had heard that happened near Clearfield, Pennsylvania. And at the
there's a big fair that goes on in Clearfield, PA.
And it's
it's huge,
right on this west branch of the Susquehanna. Mm-hmm. But back then, he referred to the site as Enda Mohätink. And Enda Mohätink means in Algonquian where human flesh was eaten. So
I actually can confirm that I have something like that also written in my notes.
Oh, yeah.
Algonquin.
I like that Steve can pronounce all those words, but can't pronounce last names.
Means evil spirit that devours mankind.
Oh, there we go.
Very similar, right?
That devours.
Yes, so to put this into perspective of where this is located for those of us not in Pennsylvania, this is 35 miles from Punxsutawney. You might know it from the Groundhog Day. So think Bill Murray area.
I love that movie.
So you're on the western side of the state.
Yeah, we're closer to the western side. And to put a date to this event, it's in the winter of 1739 and 1740. And it was a really hard winter.
Yeah, I remember that year. It was rough. Really it was a rough year.
We had to walk uphill in 6 feet of snow both ways to get to school.
Yeah, and just to get water in the morning.
It was hard.
You had school in 1739? No, man.
I'm way old.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this woman was traveling with her 3 children from the Allegheny Mountains to Big Island. And for those of you that know, Big Island is near...
Little Island?
What the heck is the town called? Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, which is also along the West Branch.
Yep.
So she's going there to meet family. Well, in the middle of this journey, it starts snowing. So soon, she's trapped by 6 feet of snow. So this woman is with her children. They can't go any further. And while she's got the 6 feet of snow, she can hear wolves calling from around the campfire.
Oh, yeah.
So it gets to the point where she realizes they're going to starve or the wolves are going to get them. So she ends up killing her youngest child, and she and the other 2 children eat the youngest child to sustain them.
Of course. I mean,
it was survival.
Logical.
You had to do what you had to do.
I mean, of course, that's what anybody would do, right?
Now, after this happened in Big Island, there were 2 Native Americans that had a dream that this woman was trapped.
Wait. Go back a little bit. Sorry, we were joking. Someone else had a dream that she...
2 other Indians at the location that she was going to had a dream that this woman was trapped and forced to eat her child.
Oh, wow.
So what they did was they made 2 sets of snowshoes for themselves and 3 extra sets of snowshoes for the people that they needed to rescue. They grabbed provisions and they start traveling to Enda Mohätink, where she's camped, which is modern-day Clearfield. When they get there, she is crying out to the Great Spirit, which is God to her, and for salvation, to be saved from this horrible situation, because she's almost going to kill her second child. They've gone
She's
to the point.
already killed the baby.
They've already
been
killed the
6
youngest.
hours. She's getting
So
hungry
you killed the
again.
youngest.
Yeah,
Because
lunch was just a couple hours ago. Now it's supper time.
She's
So
all
why
like
not?
this.
Why not kill the biggest one? It would be more meat, right?
I don't know the logic.
It's like maybe the youngest is most tender.
I doubt a mother would. I think the baby's got to be like.
We all know that.
It's like veal.
Babies are tender.
They're probably the best meat, really. So
Stutter a little bit. They're good.
They might be. I've had it a couple times.
you're like, I think Steven might be a little bit of an atheist. He's talking about eating babies.
Have you eaten baby?
Atheist wasn't the word I was going to use, but yeah.
Oh well,
Cannibal.
I'm trying.
So this leads me to one of the questions. I wanted to ask: are Wendigos ever female?
That they can be. They can be male or female.
So can they date? male and female.
I think it'd be hard to
Wendigo.
date someone that was not a Wendigo. Like,
right? Could two Wendigos, male or female, whatever, could two Wendigos of any gender date each other? And would that give a new meaning to eating someone out?
Two Wendigos, first of all, don't make a wrong. Wait. Two
Wendigos don't make a right?
I can't imagine them procreating,
or
though,
a baby?
because they probably eat the child.
True that. Or each other while they're,
Yeah, like, how do you know when to stop?
Exactly. That was one of my big questions.
I think it's kind of like, it's a very risky adventure. It's kind of like if you're a praying mantis and another female praying mantis is giving you the eye, there's a good chance you might end up not having a head.
Right. Why don't the male praying mantises have that instinct to stay away from the females?
I'd be asexual if I was a praying mantis.
Well, I guess.
I almost got an ex-wife tattoo of her head on the body of a praying mantis.
Oh, that's a cool one.
I thought that'd be
kind of
just
cool.
A praying mantis.
And it reminds me of a Buffy episode from way back in the day.
Yeah, so you never know. Well, luckily, the two Indians get to the camp. They save the second child and rescue her and take her to Big Island. So this woman is ultimately saved by these Indians that had...
She only ate the one.
...a vision. She only ate one kid.
They got to her quick enough.
But it brings me back to was she a Wendigo? Weird. Like, when she got back to Big Island, did they feed her bear fat or
Yeah, was she emaciated or...
Well, I'm assuming she was because they had eaten the smallest child, run out of food, and they were getting ready to eat another one. So it's...
That's like Bird Box.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. So Enda Mohätink...
You eat a lot of your brother tonight, 'cause I'm going to eat you later.
Yeah.
If you go to Clearfield and you get the urge to eat a human, it might be a Wendigo. So...
Wendigo.
For research also,
Yeah.
I watched Supernatural, of course.
Okay.
Because there's the
Obviously
Wendigo.
a scholarly source.
And I got to say, I wore a flannel in honor of Sam and Dean.
Very nice.
Because they always have their flannels. And they use the old school representation of the Wendigo in it.
See, I like that.
American.
Yep, they did not use the... And I also thought that this one really kind of reminds me of Skinwalker.
Yeah, I think similarities in general.
So I'm wondering if that's like the whole thing is like there's been this whole big interest in Skinwalker, which I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't mind doing a Skinwalker episode sometime in the future.
That'd be cool.
But I really feel like maybe the modern day interpretation of the Wendigo has been influenced by the Skinwalker culture.
Or like melted
It might
into
be.
it.
I mean, because the local Delaware tribe in Sunbury would not have referred to it as a Wendigo. They called it a Muhue.
Muhue?
Muhue.
I love that.
Which kind of sounds Hawaiian to me, but...
It does. But it also sounds native.
But they would, try to feed the person and get them back from being a Wendigo. But if they believed to kill a Wendigo... There were a number of ways. You could use a silver, steel, or iron bullet.
Okay.
Or a dagger. And some say its ice heart needs cut out and burned in a fire.
Burned.
Oh, so there you go. So we're talking about Supernatural.
Yep.
I think the silver bullet thing kind of also lends its, I think Wendigo and werewolf a lot of times go hand in hand. Not just
I agree. They're very similar.
What we say as werewolf, yeah.
But it's a very old concept. I mean, the first report I could find about a Wendigo was first mentioned in 1636 in a report by Paul Lejeune, a French Jesuit missionary.
Oh, that would be Lejeune.
Lejeune.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, I did take 7 years of French.
It wouldn't be a podcast episode if I didn't butcher someone's name.
I love it.
Right. Or if I didn't correct you.
Yeah, that's right. So
just joking.
I'm always okay with that. So, and locally, at some future point, we're going to be doing a talk on the Northumberland werewolf and the Maypole story.
Right. That's right. That's on our list.
When we get to that story at a later date, maybe we can revisit the Wendigo and see the correlations and similarities.
Right.
and see.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see that.
Now, because we were also in like Williamsport, and we're talking about Native Americans and all that stuff, we had to stop by, what was it, Cemetery Street and 4th Street in Williamsport.
Yeah.
And this is Lycoming County.
Right.
And we stopped there because it's the site of the Plum Tree Massacre. The Plum Tree Massacre, the lore of it is that people still hear Native Americans hooting and hollering, or running, galloping down the alleyways near there. So what happened there was,
do we have a picture pulled up here for our people listening?
It's just a generic picture. I mean, on June 10th,
picture,
1778, a bunch of Native Americans came and massacred. I think I've heard officially about 12 people, but if you can find some sources that say 200 people were massacred. But at this corner, there is 2 tombstones that mark the site, one for Lieutenant William King and Sergeant Sutton. And King, oddly, wasn't killed during the massacre. Tories and Native Americans attacked women, children, and frontiersmen as a precursor to the Great Runaway. For those that don't know, the Great Runaway is like back when Pennsylvania was very sparsely populated. When the Indians started attacking settlers in the frontier, which we currently were in, and more so in Lycoming County, they all ran away to Fort Augusta, which was in Sunbury. So a lot of those towns that had been started at earlier dates just completely wiped out. People didn't move back for years. So people heard gunshots. The settlers were tomahawked. They were scalped. Indians would mutilate the people after they killed them too.
Is that like with Bloody Springs, like around here?
They did the same thing at Bloody Springs was 2 Native Americans killing 1 man who was gathering plums at a plum tree.
Whoa! And we're talking about
the same era, but
plum tree.
At that time, when the Bloody Spring killing happened, Fort Augusta was already built as well, so it's in the same time frame.
Okay.
So you have like the Penns Creek Massacre. You have a lot of these Native American massacres happening because in the 1750s, at the beginning of the French and Indian War, this is known as the 7 Years' War in England. There's a lot of hostilities between the French and the English.
And how long did that war last?
I think 7 years.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
Something like that.
It's
hard to say. No one will ever know.
I think officially I'm going to say 6 years, just to
at this point,
upset people.
It's impossible to tell.
So, you have Fort Augusta. Say the people go there, they stay there, and that's where they hide out until they, move back into the areas. So if you're ever in Williamsport around Cemetery Street and North 4th Street, keep your eyes peeled. See if you see some Native Americans running around.
I got these gravestones pictures. Is this the...
Yeah, that's the 2 guys that the gravestones are up there. And the alley that you should hit up and where most of the sightings happen is called Sutton Avenue.
Oh, yeah, Sutton Avenue.
And it happens normally in the early morning hours. So if you stand...
Like the witching hour of 3 a.m.?
I don't know if it's the witching hour. I don't think this is demonic in nature.
Well, yeah, you were just saying like at nighttime, right?
Yeah, like early morning, nighttime, before dawn. But if you stand in the way of the charging Native Americans, they supposedly will ride right through you. So I have never seen...
I wonder what that would feel like.
Native Americans.
I bet it would be cold.
I was on a ghost hunt once where we had 2 of us had K2 meters, and we were sitting across from a table in Milton, and we had an experience where something passed through the person in front of me. The K2 meter went off, then my K2 meter went off, and then I felt cold. And we were in a room that a guy had a heart attack in. So That
okay.
So I felt the cold of something that may be passing through.
And you're a psychic brick. You've said that before.
I am a psychic brick.
You don't really often feel too much difference in like
no, I'm
energy.
not like
so for you to feel cold, that's something.
Yeah, I mean, I typically go to dark spots and we'll hang
You're
out.
a debunker by nature.
I'm a debunker, and I'm a hard sell.
True story.
Right.
So I will. If you get a picture and you're like, oh my God, I got an orb, I'll be like, well, you could have had moisture.
Dust.
You could have had a bug or dust.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for me,
sky shrimp.
The way I think is if you can have a non-paranormal explanation, even if it was paranormal, say an orb could be paranormal, if you have a natural explanation, you can't attribute anything paranormal because you don't have proof. I mean, you can't prove to me that there wasn't moisture or dust.
Right.
Exactly.
I've been on ghost hunts where someone's like tapped a chair, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Kicking up orbs?" And the psychic just lost it.
Kicking up orbs?
Yeah.
Well, there's our first T-shirt. Now we're talking.
Kicking up
what are you doing? Kicking up orbs?
Kicking up orbs. And like that's why I'm always surprised when people are like, "Ooh, we went into this attic and we got a lot of orbs." Oh, really? The dustiest room in the house?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care whose house you're at.
You're going to get some orbs.
You're going to get orbs in the attic and maybe the cellar.
Right.
Like, I don't dust my cellar.
Go down to the coal bin.
Ever.
You're going to get some orbs.
Yeah. So that was the two stories I had for you guys today.
Were Wendigos good hunters? Like from...
I would assume so.
So, and that's...
what are the stories? So, like, we talked about what they were, but are there stories of like Wendigos attacking people?
Yeah, there was a story of a Wendigo that took a young boy out into the forest, and he didn't kill him because he was too thin. So what he did was he kept the boy, and he kept fattening him up. Kind of like the Hansel and Gretel story,
Yes.
where they're fattening up the kid.
This is totally the Wendigo took my baby.
And in that story, the Wendigo is still speaking human. He's rational. He's just got the heart of ice, so he doesn't care. So he has gone to the lengths of even sending the boy back into the village.
Oh.
And ultimately, that Wendigo is killed in that story. But so there are stories of, people that are taken by a Wendigo and held captive in the woods, just on the outskirts of the village. So, I mean, part of me wonders, like, is this a cautionary tale? Like, if you're a Native American
mother, was it meant to teach you a lesson?
It was meant to keep you in camp.
Actually, yeah, I did see.
Or protect you from something.
For one of the things that I was researching last night, like, yes, it was against cannibalism, like, obviously.
But also, universal.
They're saying, like, obsessive greed, like too much greed over anything.
Oh, greed, gluttony.
Greed.
Interesting.
Yeah, can lead to this. But what I also thought was really funny about the Wendigo is that, like, again, according to, I think it was Sam Winchester, said...
Pretty sure it was Sam Winchester who said, this is from Supernatural.
He said, it's a damn near perfect hunter. And I just thought...
he did say that.
And I just thought to myself, too bad he wasn't a better hunter when he was human, because then he wouldn't be a Wendigo.
Oh, good point. You wouldn't have to worry about this if you were better when you were a human.
Yeah, you eat human and now you're a better hunter. I just thought that was kind of funny.
I would think a fresh Wendigo would be the scariest because they had not morphed into the emaciated frame and looking different. I mean, I wouldn't know if Ryan was having these Wendigo psychosis and being told
I do. I got a little Wendigo fever,
I'm like, I could eat a person today. I'm hungry. And
Wendigo fever is pretty funny too, just in general.
Yeah.
So, like,
that is.
I think for me, I'd be afraid of the Wendigo psychosis because
running naked through the woods.
Just look like a regular person until they started eating people, and then they started getting emaciated, ashen.
And they're like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna be over here. You go ahead and." Okay.
Yeah, we're going to let the gray guy sit in the corner of the bar.
Sorry about whatever you got going on right now.
Yeah, so I think they'd be good hunters, in my opinion. I don't know about
Apparently
you guys.
the best hunters.
some of my other notes, I'm just reading. I took a lot of notes while I was doing research. It says that they can control the weather.
Oh.
And they can walk on water like Jesus. Wow.
Control the weather.
And walk on water.
Have
you heard that?
I have not. I mean, but then again, a lot of the Wendigos are around the winter. So are they walking on water or are they sliding over ice?
This is just frozen. Yeah.
Are they sliding over ice?
Which technically is walking on water.
I've walked on water if you're counting ice. Mm-hmm. You know, all the Wendigo stories I've come across historically are winter-based when everyone's starving.
Yeah.
So I'm not as impressed with the walking on water. Now, if a Wendigo can make water into wine, then I'm all game.
Can you imagine a giant wine iceberg?
Oh.
That'd be interesting.
That would be great.
Look out, it's a Weinberg. Yeah. Max Weinberg? Who's Max Weinberg?
Whoa. That just blew my mind right there.
And then his son. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of Weinbergs.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, we to the pizza part?
Yeah, I think we're going to the pizza part.
Let me shut up here. I'm not even talking.
You're not even talking.
I'm just kidding.
He's going to pantomime the pizza part. He's going to show you what it looked like for us to eat the pizza.
Right.
What if I did? That's the only way I could do it today.
That'd be great.
Okay, we were in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. We went to Hobie's Hoagies and Pizza in Williamsport, Williamsport, PA. I think there's a couple Hobies, right? Is that what we found out? There might be more than one.
At least,
But we went to the one on 4th Street, Southwest 4th Street in Williamsport. Steve, you like this one a lot. I think we've given some good reviews lately. Steve had a 3.75 out of 5. Steve said, I liked everything about it. I thought it tasted way more impressive than it looked, and it had a great sauce. Mm-hmm. So I'm not kind of remembering this one right now. Oh, wait.
We sat out on that porch, remember?
We went next door.
That's right, that awesome.
Because Hobie's was a very not friendly place. You couldn't eat inside.
There was like nothing.
Yeah, there was really nowhere.
It was like a counter and just
go.
boxes sitting around.
Yeah. It was
right
like
next
a
door,
pizza box warehouse, kind of. That's what it looked like.
We took our pizza and we went in what we thought was actually Hobie's.
Yeah.
But it was the next restaurant. What was it called?
Lucky Strike Diner.
Yeah. And there was nobody in there because there's no sign for it or anything. But the guy that was in there.
50s decor, by the way.
Yeah, that's a cool place.
Yeah.
Nice, chill little place.
And Lucky Strike's I think that's the brand of cigarettes Elvis used to smoke.
Non-filtered.
Wow. Yep. Not surprised.
But that guy was awesome. He let us eat there. It wasn't even his restaurant. He's like, yeah, come on in.
And use the bathroom.
Back porch, right?
Yeah, we sat on the back porch, which was nice because we could be outside. And he also let us use the bathroom, no problem. And we didn't buy anything from his diner.
We did.
Just a sweetheart.
We did
throw him a little money. Yeah, we threw him a little money. He was a nice guy.
Yeah, well, of course we did because he was so sweet. He didn't expect anything.
No, he was,
Not at all. He was just being very, very kind. And
he was very cool.
Mm-hmm. And the pizza was pretty good. Like, from what I recall, it was
not bad.
Not bad.
You gave it, Christy, you gave it a 3.5. And you said, same thing, much better than expected.
Yeah.
Because it looked greasy, you said.
Right. I remember now. Yeah. I was expecting it to be way worse than it was.
And it had really good flavor. So chances are the cheese was just not the best quality when it has the grease on it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes people do put oil on top of pizza, which is weird. Really good flavor, you said. Good sauce to cheese crust ratio, which I'm a big fan of.
Yep.
And then you said wish the bottom was crispier. If it...
Always.
Take it home and cook it again, and it's better.
Oh, you know what I have recently discovered, you guys?
You're going to say frying pan?
I'm going to say frying pan. It's the best way to reheat pizza.
No, when you say frying pan, are you saying
skillet.
Like cast iron, or are you talking...
if you want to be a boss about it, then yeah.
Okay.
But also like one of those big fatty skillets that you can get, like electric skillets.
Oh.
They work great for heating up pizza. Just put a little bit of tin foil over the top, melts the cheese, crisps the bottom.
It's way too much work.
Pro tip for all our listeners out there.
My girlfriend told me that, turned me on to that one too. I'm a big air fryer fan. I stuck that in the air fryer for a couple minutes, and it's
it's all right. You got to turn it upside down though.
I don't. I'm not as picky about it, I think.
Yeah, you're right. I am a little picky about my pizza.
I'm all cool. I can whatever. I will not even heat it. I'm the guy that will leave it on the counter for 3 days and still eat a piece of pizza.
Oh wow, your room temperature pizza. That's hardcore.
Oh, for sure.
I would do that with maybe the James's pizza, but not too many others.
I'm not picky when it comes to pizza. If it was good, it was good.
Yeah. I'm with him, I'm not gonna go through all the 10 steps. Yeah. If there's a step 1 and that's just eating.
And it's good?
Pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You still making yours?
And I'm like,
Mine's
this
gone.
is good, but it's still pizza.
I gave it a 3.25, so still pretty good. Out of 5, 3.25 out of 5. So if you want Barstool ratings, you just double our score. So 3.25 as far as Barstool would be a 6.5. Okay, so not great for mine, but for Steve 3.75. That's more like
that's
what?
high.
Yeah, that's a pretty good score for me.
Yeah.
I can't do the math right now.
But you are kind of like our pizza lover on the.
I am the pizza lover. Like I could eat pizza every day.
Yeah.
I had pizza for lunch today, so it's just a thing.
I had a cinnamon roll.
A cinnamon roll?
Yeah.
I like the pizza. It wasn't my style of pizza, which I think I say that a lot. So
what is your style of
hopefully
pizza?
when we get to New Haven, I find my style.
It's the anchovy pizza.
I still say we got to go to Altoona so you to try Altoona style pizza just because it's the worst in the nation.
Is that the one with the bologna on the bread?
Have you seen the pictures?
I've seen the pictures and it's horrific and we should eat it.
It's a
ham sandwich that they melted.
I'm with you.
No.
Steven.
I think it's bologna,
Majority
American
rules.
cheese, and bread. And that's what and maybe a sauce, I guess.
Well,
it has to be.
Why don't we let it up to maybe listeners? Just
listen. I know
we should try Altoona pizza. Let us know.
Pizza. Let us know.
I'm just saying.
If you want to force Ryan to eat Altoona pizza,
which I really think would be
please
hilarious.
Don't.
I don't want to eat it either, but I think it would be really funny. Just anyway,
my wife thinks the dogs would eat it, and I mean, of course they would. They eat dog poop.
So it's the bread with bologna and fish?
American cheese.
American cheese.
Is there jalapenos on it?
How is that even
something
pizza?
Green, right?
I don't. I just know it's historically the worst pizza on the planet.
Yeah. Again, if anybody
Altoona,
knows
Pennsylvania,
anything
this is what
about
they call
this
pizza,
please feel free to email us sliceoftheparanormal@gmail.com
and tell us how much you love and hate it,
or if you want us to go there and try it out.
We can do Altoona.
Yeah, it's got to be something, right, Steve?
The Baker Mansion is out that way, so. We could see if we can get into the Baker Mansion.
Sounds good.
And check it out.
Just to finish up, I said mine. I like this. Sauce was perfect. Cheese was good. Crust was fluffy, but not crispy enough for me. So same as the rest
kind of the same thing. Yeah, we all want a little bit crispier crust.
So with this place, I would say instead of places I super love, I'd say I'd haunt.
Yeah.
If I don't want to ever go back, I'd ghost it.
Yeah.
I think this one would kind of fall through with the. This would be a place I would pass through.
Yeah, like a seasonal haunt.
Like a seasonal haunt.
Seasonal haunt.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that.
Like you're on tour with your haunting.
Yeah, so I'm not quite at ghosting it. Yeah. I'm not.
I'm
not going to hang there, though.
Haunting means I'm coming back a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to hang out there. I'm going to come. I'm going to maybe smell some pizza because I'm a ghost, probably can't eat.
And you have to pass through because we have to go to
smell some pizza because I'm a ghost and can't eat.
We had to go to the Lucky Strike Diner to eat it.
Right?
So they didn't have a spot to stay, so we have to pass through this place.
Oh, my God. That's funny.
Right, though? I mean, that's not bad.
What do you got? Anything else, Steve?
No, that's about it, man.
Let's wrap this up. What do you think, Christy?
Hey, all you foodies and ghoulies out there. Have you had a personal experience with something that we talked about today or you would like to add to the episode? Please feel free to reach out to us at our email at sliceoftheparanormal@gmail.com. And if you do like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and follow us on our social media platforms.
This podcast was produced by Stone State Entertainment.